Yes, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. We'll call it to order at 6:32. First up, we have approval of minutes from June, since we didn't do it at the special meeting. Somebody want to make a motion?
I will.
Can you get more volume out of that, Joe?
Well, maybe I wasn't talking close enough to the phone. Can you hear me now?
That's better, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. I'll make the motion to accept.
And
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're good. Minutes from June are approved. Now the minutes, we do have minutes from July 19th from the special meeting. Do we have a motion to accept those?
I had a typo that I wanted to talk about on page 2, but I thought it was on the June minutes, but it must have been, I thought it was on July, but I think it's on the June minutes.
Oh,
So if we can go back, there's just one small typo.
On the second
June-
page, Joanne,
Huh?
this is Lynn on the second page.
Yeah, the Blaine Road is misspelled, that's all. Under progress reports, under 8-1. Sidewalk grants for Riverside Drive, and then you mentioned Blaine Road. There's no E at the end of Blaine.
oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll fix that and I'll put that, I'll put that in this meeting, that one change was updated.
Oh,
So-
okay, thank you.
I'm just
Yeah,
gonna
just-
stick,
Page 2 is mixed up. Okay.
just,
that's it. That'll
just-
look great otherwise.
just asking a housekeeping question to Lynn. When you said you'd fix that, and then you said you'd put it in the minutes of this meeting. So you do not, you don't go
Correct.
back, right?
Yeah, that
Okay.
I noted in this meeting that there was a typo caught.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thanks, Renee.
No, I just don't want 2 sets of minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're back on accepting the July minutes.
I can make the motion again.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Nope, he got me.
Lafredo, you look busy there, so I figure I'd jump.
I
in
was
there.
thinking it looked like he was in some kind of primitive prison.
Yeah.
I figured I'd do something unique. It's with the wife away. Sometimes I forget all the chores I have to do, and this one has to get done before horse churning tonight. So.
Okay, back to the minutes.
There's a motion and a second.
Yeah. So any discussion on those minutes, Joe?
Nope, they look good.
Okay, yeah, good job on that, Lynn. I
There was
thought anyway.
A lot to
Thank
cover,
you.
that's for sure.
There
Yeah.
was, and there were issues with the recording, so I was relying a lot on my notes that I took during the meeting, so.
Your notes that were
Okay.
scribbled on your.
Good, it looked
on
good.
your
Yeah.
pages.
Exactly, Joanne, exactly.
I sit right next to you. I couldn't believe that you were, and you took such great notes too. Unbelievable. So good job.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
I wave
Aye.
something. Any opposed? Okay. We are through with the minutes. Joe, did you get the financial report? I forgot to print it out.
Yep, we've got so much money. We've got $24,410.12.
Okay.
The year is still young.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, we'll do something. Okay. We got update on businesses in Thompson. We have, I had 2 adoption of trade names. That was Drifter's Farm on O'Leary Road and Advanced Asphalt Maintenance on Riverside Drive. Everybody got those, right, in the mail?
Yep.
Anything else? Well, I don't know of any others or any cancellations, so that's all I had for that. TBA
to,
members, huh?
The old Coach's Corner, the Alamo, has anybody else been there?
Yeah, I went there the first week, I think.
Oh, okay, all right, because I've been there, but I didn't know if anybody tried to stop in and invite them to Thompson Business Association.
Yeah, I didn't.
I
They
mentioned it.
were busy at the time and they weren't talking.
Okay, I did mention it, but they used to belong to the Putnam business, so I'm sure they'll want to join Tom.
Well, and I'm pretty sure Dan checked in with them too.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, TBA membership, speaking of that, we officially have 69, but we actually are up to 72. We have 3 pending. I got a call today.
Just
from
out of
someone.
curiosity, Yacino, who are the 3 newest?
Well, one of them, I forget because it's not on the list yet. And one of them is Jim's Repair. And the third one, they called me today and we don't have paperwork yet. They were going to send a check. It's a new business in Putnam and they're joining all of the business associations and they actually want to come to the mixer in October and they are looking forward to being part of Community Day. So that was just this afternoon, so I don't have information on them yet. They were pulling the form off the website.
I was just curious if Spicer Petroleum was one because he emailed me. You may be interested to know this, Vice President of the TBA. He called me wondering how he could advertise on the town sign. So I
Yeah,
told
I
him,
believe he's the one that called me today.
okay, yeah, so Spicer Petroleum, just so you know, is the they have a property on Reardon Road now. So they
Oh.
are actually in Thompson.
Yeah, the person who called me today was David Labby. And he mentioned the business name, but he's going through the paperwork and sending a check off to Sandy Lanasa to join the TBA.
Okay, all right. Very good.
So that's it for that. We have no citizens, so we have no citizens' comments. I don't have anything under old business unless somebody has something to bring up. New business, I put Community Day. We did have a meeting last Friday. Brian let us know we had 13 businesses signed up and 11 civic organizations signed up. And they're looking to follow up on a bunch of activities and people and well, it's ongoing. It'll be here before we know it. We did talk about Volunteer of the Year and Business of the Year. If anyone here in this group would like to nominate Volunteer of the Year too, we're not limited to just Business of the Year as far as nominees. We did receive one nomination for Business of the Year, and I won't say it in public. But it's a good one, I think, and I can tell you offline or in our discussion at the next meeting. And yeah, everybody got the Business of the Year nomination form. Don't forget it. It does help if we have more to choose from.
I'll submit mine, Brian. I got that the other day.
Okay. I was thinking about going live for the next meeting. might be easier to actually discuss businesses unless we only have one or two, then it doesn't really matter. Is there anybody opposed to meeting in September in person?
I think as long as we have hybrid option, because I know that some people like to do remote option, but I don't mind going back to speak for myself.
Yeah, and I don't mind, like I said, this, if we have, 4 or 5 or 6 businesses to talk about, it might be nice to do it in person.
I will just say this, and I think I mentioned this to you before, but just so everybody else understands, if the concern is the confidentiality and the fact that this is recording, we can, for something like that, go into executive session, turn off the recording, and boot any non-commission members out into a waiting room. That is a possibility, just so you know.
Yeah, no, and I do know that. But just for any, real discussion, if we had enough nominations, personally, I wouldn't mind meeting face to face and hashing it out, but that's all. I mean, I'm just looking to see if anybody is strongly opposed, and then we'll see what we get. If we only have 1 or 2, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's it, unless somebody else has something to add for Business of the Year or Community Day.
Just Joey Martino emailed me, and I knew this was coming because it was mentioned by somebody at the Trails Committee meeting. Asked me on Community Day to be one of the speakers as a part of their program, which I think is going to be up at Riscavage, doing a little, the dog and pony show on what's going on in terms of all the redevelopment projects, oh no, I'm sorry, it wasn't that one. It was the updates on Trainwreck Park.
Oh,
Because they're doing a whole thing about, they're going to show Blair's movie, and so they're doing a whole thing about the history of the trains.
that's going to be at the library, that movie?
I think it's going to be at Riscavage, up at the school.
Because I think it was Levency that talked about a movie at the library, 11 to 1.
Oh, maybe
Amanda
it is.
did.
Maybe it is at the library. Then for some reason, I thought they were doing all that stuff up at the school. I would take Levency's word over mine on that one.
Yeah, originally I thought it was Riscavage, but Levency definitely said the number 9 movie at the library, so I'm not sure if he's confused or not, but.
Yeah, because I wrote it, I wouldn't remember, but I wrote it down. That's the only reason I bring that up.
No, that's fine. The point is, I'm probably not going to be on site that day. I guess that's my only real point.
Oh,
I'm going
okay,
to be
well,
off doing whatever it is they're going to ask me to do.
yeah, and that does interfere. I mean, we have the presentations from, say, 12 to 12:30. And unless you're speaking after 1 o'clock, or I don't
No,
imagine it would be before 11.
He said 11:30, I think.
Okay.
Tara, I'm gonna butt in there.
Yeah.
They're planning some activities at 11:30 before we even kick off the day.
That is what his email to me said. He said I would be the second speaker at around 11:30. That I do know.
I think we need to talk to him. I mean, that's pulling everybody away from the opening ceremony. That's the whole point of the day.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there is time to adjust plans. So yes, that might be something that we can all reach out to him about.
And maybe not. I mean, as far as, changing his plans, it's just, it kind of does pull away from the event. It's the opposite of what we're trying to do.
Right. Yeah, because he was talking about a movie 11 to 1. I mean, we do get on the field at 11, but our opening ceremony is still at noon.
Yeah, so we just need to get in touch with the Historical Society then and nail down exactly what they're planning, see what kind of flexibility they do and don't have, and then make whatever plans we need to accordingly.
Well, it's just, it seems to me if they're doing it as in conjunction as part of, or did they just choose that date randomly?
No, I'm sure they didn't choose it randomly. I'm sure they chose it because it is Community Day, but they might not quite be thinking through the entire through line of how the pieces fit together. That's all. I'm sure that's the case, in fact. So I would just, you and Leave and See maybe reach out to him and say, hey, heard this is how this is planned, but perhaps there's a better way to plan this.
Okay.
Well. Okay. Then, moving on. Progress reports. We have the grant applications and updates by our illustrious planner.
So I have a grant that we haven't talked about yet because I wasn't writing it until last Monday and it's due in 2 days. Amy grabbed me after I came back from vacation because the steep grants were open, and before I left, we were talking about maybe another roof project at the highway garage, but we couldn't really cobble that one together. And then credit for the light bulb moment, the high school track project that got voted on at referendum back in January and approved for a $1.5 million budget is an eligible project. So if a steep grant is successful, it could offset it by 500,000. So, shaving a third off the price to the town. So I've spent the last week and a half doing that. The draft is essentially complete and just got to tighten up a couple of things and that'll be submitted by Friday. So fingers crossed on that. I did get, also, since I've been back from vacation, I received the contract from CT Deep for the second train wreck park grant, the $457,000. So Amy signed that and it is off to Deep for their counter signature. Once it is countersigned, that is an executed contract and we can start moving forward with that. Coincidentally with that, Julie Butler emailed me because I had emailed her before I left on vacation trying to get an update from them. They're just so super busy over the summer and I don't like to press them, but she did reply. They are still interested in moving forward. We have not negotiated a sale price for that small portion of land where the turntable is. I expect she will be putting me in touch with her attorney to put in touch with Rich Roberts, because the grant will cover those legal costs and the acquisition costs. So all those pieces should start to move forward soon. We can go out to start creating the RFPs for the construction work on the turntable, even while I'm working that out with the Butlers, because we have a memorandum of understanding. The key to me has been having both contracts signed. So ta-da, progress.
Nice progress since the trails meeting. On
That is
that,
progress since the trails meeting.
and since if we can go ahead with that, does that mean we could also go ahead with the parking area and the bids on that, not having to wait for the butlers to finish off?
We could write all the RFPs. And I suppose we could issue them all at the same time. It's one of those things, and it's probably something I should talk over with the members of the Trails Committee and the Historical Society. We could try to bid it out all as one package to a contractor who brings in subs, or we could do what Santos and I are doing at 65 Main and bid it out piece by piece. There's pros and cons to both approaches. I'm kind of inclined to do the piece by piece on this one. because I think it extends our funds better. But that's probably a decision I shouldn't make single-handedly. That's probably something we should make in committee. But either one of those things is possible, and we can develop the RFPs all at once regardless, that's fine. But
Do
we should
we
all
need
talk
a-
about it.
Do we need a special meeting then of trails and say we won't meet again for another 2 months?
Well, I don't have the executed contract back, so if we're talking about the first Monday of October, I think we can make that decision then.
Okay,
I don't know, if it feels super urgent, I'm not averse to a special meeting, but I don't think it really needs one.
no, yeah, it sounds like October is fine by the time you get the RFPs written, you get bids back. I just want to be ready to go in the spring anyway.
Sure. So that's that. The 2 grants I submitted right before I left on vacation are the CIF grant, that's the 3.88 million. And a grant to DOT's community connectivity program for the wayfinding system that we had designed all those years ago. They both have roughly the same notification period, which is the end of September, possibly into early October, because everything's always late. But we should know about both soon. Lot SIP should be wrapped up certainly by the end of the calendar year. The sidewalk contractor is going to come back to do the last 2 crosswalks, and then I'll let NECOG know it's completed. And then that will officially be done. And then the 265 Main grants, Santos and I have been working on piecing that out. Roof should start shortly after Labor Day, as should the hazmat abatement. Both of those contracts have been awarded. You guys should know that the hazmat abatement is going to eat up most of the rest of the federal grant that we received for that reno. It way outstripped the estimates that we had from the architect. That becomes not that serious if we get the CIF grant. If we don't get the CIF grant, I'm sort of back to trying to strategize ways to fund the rest of what we need done. But I have already at least whispered into one of Murphy's aides' ears that it may, and actually into Senator Murphy's ear himself when he came out to visit the site, that we may be looking to extend the original award. If we get in that situation, and I explained the whole thing to him. And then the programming grant, we had a partners meeting today because they opened the 2 bids yesterday. Well, not because, but coincidentally, the 2 bids were opened yesterday for the permaculture landscaping consultant for the back 3.2 acres. We had 2 excellent proposals with wildly different costs. With one was for more than the amount of the entire grant,
Wow.
which made me laugh. And then another was for 25,000, which is a little more than we had line item for in the budget, but we have a lot of flexibility and we move the budget around. So it's well within cost. And I'm going to call that guy tomorrow, see if I can negotiate a few $1,000s off that price anyway. But then that bid should be accepted by the first selectmen's meeting in September, which is the day after Labor Day. And then we're off to the races with that. The con call today, we also started talking about, well, not just started, really started getting into the nitty gritty about how we're going to run the public engagement workshop, which is going to kick off in October. And we're starting to develop a really good syllabus for that with the partners. And the thing, Brian Yacino, that was distracting me when I was letting people into the meeting was trying to set up a radio interview with John Mahan on the talk show for some time between the 7th and 20th of September, so that one or more of the project partners and I could go on and try to start drumming up participants for that workshop process. So a lot going on. I actually feel like I'm forgetting something about some grant, but it couldn't be that important.
Hey, Tara, what about the Blaine Road intersection? Is that off the table, or is that still part of it?
Oh, it's on, it's just not grant related.
Okay, I thought that was
The
part
town,
of it, yeah.
no, the town is funding that out of last year's road budget effectively.
But that probably won't happen this year.
Oh, no, it's supposed to happen after Labor Day.
Okay.
The
'Cause I
only
thought
reason
was
it hasn't started
coinciding
yet,
with the sidewalks.
the only reason it hasn't started yet is that the granite curbing, the mountable granite curbing that we specified was on back order.
Huh.
I think that's it. Sure.
Okay. Well. Next up, well, I still have website notes. And the only thing I noticed, I don't know. It does bug me that we don't use the calendar. Because if we don't use the calendar, why do we have it? Apparently you have to go to Facebook to get any real information, because I was looking up, upcoming events, get the dates and things, and the calendar really doesn't have anything but today's date.
So are you looking at the community events calendar?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, most of the, events are revolve around recreation, and they just haven't gotten in the habit of updating that calendar as well as their own website and their own Facebook. So there's a lot going on. It's just, we're gonna have to remind them once again to get their events up on that calendar as well. Yeah, and I don't know.
I know there's a lot of work involved in trying to coordinate and stuff, but it doesn't look good if somebody goes to the page and the whole calendar is empty.
We also have added a piece, which is right on that. When you click on that, it says, click here to add your event to the calendar, which let's just say it's, I don't know, Project Rad. They fill out it's a fillable form right online, and then that gets sent to one of us. I haven't even ever received one of those. So, I mean, maybe we need to do a story to get the word out again that that's available. Because it's more than just what we've got going on in town. I mean, there's other organizations. So, yeah, it is underutilized. I will agree with you.
Okay, yeah, it's like I said, if I see something, I just bring it up. It's a standing thing. Otherwise, I know it's a lot of work to keep everything up. So next we have, let's see, we have 11th Village progress as the next item. And the latest is that we'll be moving the sheds.
Yeah, the 11th Village is, I am making the executive decision that program is mothballed. We have had actual requests to relocate the sheds for other municipal uses. So, and I talked to the ACO, who was one of the people who made a request today. I think we will keep them until Community Day, because the Historical Society loves to be in there for those events. Let them use it one last time. If the transitional students do want to have a bookstore that day, or somebody else wants to use the red one. But the red shed is going to go to the transfer station to replace the falling down swap shack that they have. The bank is going to go to animal control for their overflow for donations. And the church will go to recreation over by the pickleball courts to store equipment there. And I believe Mike Joyce and his students will actually come down to finish it. So that allows them to sort of finish the project, say that they did it, paint it, finish it, whatever. And then they are still being used by the town. But I have done everything in my power to get people to sign on and sort of take some ownership with us of that project. And I get a lot of people who express interest, but then that's as far as it goes. It was a small risk. Didn't pan out the way we wanted, but we'll still get some benefit out of it. So it'll be okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the right decision to make, and I'm happy that the sheds are going to be put to good use anyway. It's something these three organizations needed anyway. So I agree. It was a small loss, if any.
Yeah, I have one thought. You know how Rec is talking about the winter festival. I assume it's going to be down there. Were they planning to use sheds? I don't know what this festival is going to look like.
Nobody knows what that festival is gonna look like. I don't think there is a plan yet. So they probably were thinking of using them in that sense for that event.
Yeah,
But I would say if you're doing a pros and cons, weighing them, that the pro of leaving them until the winter and then having them inaccessible or impossible to move until the spring when there are needs for them, that's an imbalance.
yeah,
Totally agree. Totally.
yeah. No, I just thought I'd bring it up. I mean, I didn't think to mention it at the meeting Friday, but yeah, just a thought. Okay. So that's our 11th village. I still have Trainwreck Park progress on the agenda. We've talked about the deep grant.
And that is the progress for now. I mean, until I have the legal wrapped up and the executed contract, there's no action to be taken.
Yeah.
But that action is now seriously imminent.
Okay. Now to Brian Lafredo's point, Brian was asking about the turkey trot, and I do under upcoming events. I list whatever is upcoming. The first is Community Day on the 30th. We have senior Halloween party on October 27th. We have the turkey trot on November 12th. And this winter festival, I think it's right at the beginning of December. And there's also a TBA mixer for anybody who's interested on October 12th. Do you want to talk
Is
more
that a
about the turkey
Tuesday?
trot? Huh?
Is that
Yes.
Tuesday? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Tuesday before the next TBA meeting.
Okay.
And that will be at Donahue Landscape. And that's listed on the website also with all the details. Brian, did you want to talk about turkey trot?
Well, like I said to you, next month's really bigger, but we have had a meeting. We have reviewed it at the last Trails meeting, and pretty much everything is moving forward as normal. Our current donation level stands at about $4,500. Of course, we want to achieve at least 15,000. We did get one new donor. I approached the Putnam dealership. I don't know what they actually go by, the Chrysler Dodge Kia Jeep dealership.
That's Putnam Chrysler.
And okay, and they not expecting anything, but since I don't do business with them, but I popped in there, and the general manager, of course, wasn't available. But within a week, they had jumped on board with a $125 check. Heritage Valley, formerly Putnam Ford, has expressed interest in increasing their sponsorship. We're having some strategy discussions on that, so I won't say anything further on that right now. Of the major sponsors, the only one who has not committed right now is the timing sponsor, which is G7. I understand Amy and Jason have a lot going on. I'd like to put that to bed one way or the other.
Brian, check the chat.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah, Lafredo, send me the sponsorship form too. I'm good to contribute to.
Well, I knew you would, Brian. I can count on you. Thank you.
Yeah,
You should have
just
gotten
email me
the form.
that form.
He said he sent it to everyone. I can text you a copy.
Yeah, just text me. I probably missed it. I missed it for the weekend warrior thing too, but yeah, just send me the form.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. The chat is good. And thank you, Brian. Actually, there's something involving you and your sponsorship with the negotiation that I want to talk to you about. It's nothing
Okay.
bad. But if that chat is the accurate information, that answers one of the big questions. But yeah, I came up with an idea with Levency just to get your donation more of a recognition because of the amount that you give us. So I have not had a chance to talk to him since I suggested it on Monday. So without some partnership, I don't want to move forward yet on that.
Yeah, no problem. Just call me or whatever. I'm here for you.
Okay. Yeah, with G7 on board, which is what I'm hearing in the chat. I don't know if I should say that officially, but sounds good. Hopefully we're going to be well on our way to equaling last year's donations. I'm sure a couple will drop off. I started visiting people in person, just mainly as a thank you measure. But if I saw someone nearby, I stopped in. So some of these people are companies that have been resistant to sponsor in the past. But like Tara's always said, it's harder to say no in person. Unfortunately, I can't get to the decision maker on some of these larger companies. For example, Unicor, who I visited in Putnam while I was visiting all our Putnam sponsors. But I'm really happy with the progress in the last 2 weeks on sponsorships. Everything else is just that time of year things start to get officially set up in September. My biggest concern, I think, is going to be the condition of West Thompson Dam because we've had such a wet season. I have not been up there. I don't know if any part of the course is going to be underwater, and it may even be too soon to find out the way the weather's been this year. But John and I will be walking it in September to assess the viability of our race course.
Hey, Brian, quick
Yeah.
question. Does Neil Patel donate?
Neil has been one of those resistant ones. I have not visited him this year. He gave us one of my first years on, but he only gave 50, but I'll take 50 from anyone, still 50. Almost every year since then, I visited in person or Brian Levency, because Brian's had some dealings with him on some of the other sponsorships. I think he might have sponsored Litter League, but we have not been able to get him back on board.
Are you seeing in the chat, Lafredo?
Yeah, I saw it pop up, but I'm on my phone, so I have to go into the chat and thank you, Amy. I didn't know you were live. Thank you. As far as that was yours before. Thank you also, Amy, for that.
Lafredo, contact me at the office. I may have a couple of new contacts you can reach out to for sponsorships. At least worth a try.
Well, I didn't speak to the one that you mentioned earlier in this call yet. I haven't been around Thompson. The other one you mentioned, as I think I told you, I have contacted them. Mr. Couture, I think it is.
Yeah.
Then said he had passed it along actually to the gentleman I know. I have the name someplace. He's at the Putnam office and it'll be his decision. So
yeah, there's another one I can put you in touch with. Obviously, I can't say whether or not he would or wouldn't donate, but I can definitely put you in touch.
Super. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay. And I don't know if I missed any events mentioning Community Day, Halloween party, Turkey Trot, Winter Festival, and TBA Mixer. If we're set, we'll go on to marketing of Main Street, which we've already talked about 65 Main a little, starting on the roof and the abatements soon.
Got to work on that sign, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that I need to think about when I'm in a position to do something about it, which
Yep.
is not right
Yep.
at this moment. Yeah, I'll try to do it. I'll try to remember to do it tomorrow.
Okay.
But the marketing of Main Street, your budget came through for that. right? And that's what the big project is supposed to be. So you've got 15,000 in your branding initiatives pot. The estimate we had from Quinn and Harry was for 10 grand. I would recommend writing up an RFP. And then maybe what makes sense if I resend what we used for the 2 Sullivan Lashane contracts. I can't remember if we did an RFP for both of them or just the first one. And see if we want to, how we want to adjust that scope specific to Main Street, and then we can put it out. So maybe plan for, maybe if I send that out tomorrow, and then we can plan for reviewing that at the September meeting and then going out to RFP. Does that sound like a plan?
It does.
Does anybody have any alternate ideas? Let me toss that out there.
Well, I've missed a few meetings, so I guess I'm a little lost on this marketing of 65 Main. What?
No, not marketing 65 Main. We've been calling it marketing of Main Street. I might even say that that's also too narrow. It's marketing the revitalization of the downtown core. There's a lot of activity centered on Main Street, which includes 65 Main and its future as a business incubator, includes Superior Bakery once it's renovated, because they're going to have not just storage space, but also some office space for let up in that house. You know,
I am curious that there is enough availability for this kind of marketing. I understand that they were going to have some over there, but and we're going to have the 65 Main, but what other properties are being marketed?
I think it's just the potential in, or at least what we've discussed, and anybody can jump in on this. It's the fact that the whole downtown core has been made more friendly for development. Because, for example, lot sizes, minimums are so small in that district, anywhere where there's water and sewer connection,
Okay, I
parcels
get that.
become developable.
I get all of that, but isn't that a little narrow? Wouldn't we want to do more of the whole area than just Main Street?
Well, we also talked about the St. Joseph's.
That
being
doesn't seem
apartment
like we're
and-
going to spend 15 grand on marketing for spaces we don't have much to offer.
I hear what you're saying, Renee, which is why I said, we've been saying marketing Main Street because of all the activity, but I think realistically, we're talking about either marketing the downtown core as a whole, or even the Routes 12 and 131 corridors as a whole.
Okay. I feel better about that for sure, because Main Street is too limited for in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, I see it as being that whole area going up to the Extra Mart.
Okay, perfect, fine.
Our Father's Table building. I mean,
Okay, good.
and even future interest for whatever commercial space and is going to be available in the mill. You don't want to wait till the last minute. You start to drive interest that this is an area that is going to be new really for commercial development activity and customer interest, and we want to start getting that word out.
So we can stop calling it Main Street marketing, maybe?
Yeah, that's fine. It's like Trainwreck Park. We use it as shorthand because we kind of all know what we're talking about.
But
you're right.
But a message is a message, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, initially it came up, Renee, because there was so much activity. At one end it was St. Joseph's and Bob Fournier's property, the former Jill and G's, and at the other end it was 929. And in between, it was 65 Main, it was Superior Bakery. So there was a lot of focus on that. There was a lot going on.
Yeah,
and
I
building Porticelli too. So
I just think it's so narrow, you know what I mean? And the limitations. So you're going to market the limited space when we have so much more, I think we can offer.
Yeah, you're right, Renee. That's, I'm sure we were all thinking that, but by calling it that shorthand, it gives a different impression.
Anyway, so the point is, I'm gonna send everybody the prior RFPs that we used for Sullivan and Lashane. Do whatever markups you want in terms of what's different about this project than that project, but because that was also a marketing and branding campaign, I think we can at least use that as a jumping off point, and then we will discuss a draft at the September meeting. Fair?
Okay, and for the September agenda, I'll come up with a new name for that agenda item. Okay, Renee?
Please.
No problem. Okay, now we're up, the last item is comments by commission members and items for the next agenda, so I already have discussed the RFPs, and we already have business of the year would be next month's topics.
So before we totally leave the topic then of the marketing plan, let's just call it the marketing plan for now. Related to that, although tangentially, I just want to remind everybody that the VAD ordinance was passed forward to town meeting at last night's Board of Selectmen meeting. And that is scheduled for Wednesday, the 30th. So that is 2 weeks from tonight. At the library or the school, Amy?
It is at the library.
Okay, at the library. Please, if you do not have a conflict, be sure to be there because, I mean, everybody here was at the mill presentation. This is a very important piece of this strategy, and we do not want anything to derail it. So we need to be sure that everybody who understands how this thing works is there to lend their affirmative support.
Do we have a time on that? 7 o'clock, I assume?
7 o'clock, yes. And
Thank you.
honestly, what's the alternative?
Right,
Please come out.
The good news is I haven't seen a lot of online chatter banging at it, but I wouldn't relax on that.
Right.
right. And I told Tara that we brought it up at last week's TBA meeting. And there was really no pushback. Couple of questions, but that was it.
Hey, Brian,
Yeah, oh, me?
the TBA have like a email list that they can do a blast to get those business owners to that meeting? I mean, if we've got to really do some outreach here because it could go either way.
Yeah,
And there was-
okay.
Kira, did you talk
Not
to
a
Winnie?
problem.
Are you going to be on Winnie at all regarding this?
I have not. Amy, if you want to try to arrange one for the both of us to go, I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think? The morning of the 30th or the day before?
Oh, the
Um,
before, definitely the day before, the week, a few days before.
I'm
Sure,
gonna do a week. A week feels like too long.
Yeah,
possibly, but yeah, you don't want to wait till that morning, I don't think.
So Tuesday, the 29th.
Yeah, I can reach
Yeah.
out to Winnie.
Okay, and I do have flexibility if that date doesn't work for them. Although what are we on now?
Well, it would-
Yeah, we're 2
So
weeks out.
either the 28th or the 29th. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pencil this across those 2 dates. Talk show, Winnie, VAD.
And how does that get on Winnie's Facebook page too? I know they have a lot of announcements for towns and so forth. And remember, wasn't it you, Amy, that sent a message to Winnie regarding our poet laureate? That really sparked a lot of activity.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, so I think we should put that town meeting on Winnie's Facebook page.
Yeah, we can do a press release too. I mean, a standard press release. That's no issue at all. In fact, when is it? If it's on Wednesday, the 30th, that would mean a presser that would get into Villager and Winnie would have to go out by noon on Tuesday, the 22nd. So I'm going to mark that in my calendar too. Press release, VAD.
I think that's great. All those are, I just have a feeling that the direct contact, is there a way to even, I'm not saying we're trying to tell people how to vote at this town meeting, but members of boards and commissions, I believe we have email lists. We need to send that, I think, a message out explaining it and getting those folks out. I just feel like the general ads, people go, yeah, okay, somebody else is going to go. That's not, I don't need to go to that meeting. And I think there's an urgency here that I think we really need to take seriously.
Well, don't you have an email list of everybody, all the members of commissions and committees that you
I
can
do
send
not.
out?
I do
I
not.
I have one. I think it's a little outdated. Kelly Janess used to update it after each
And Marie,
after each municipal cycle. I don't.
actually, Tara, Marie has been
Yeah.
updating that, so that could be recaptured.
Oh, okay, all right. I did not realize that Marie had taken that from Kelly.
Yes.
But my feeling is everybody that's in this meeting tonight, like Renee says, it's a sense of urgency. Calling
Yeah.
people that you know that sit on the boards or commissions, or even just the people you know, and say, I need your help. I need you to come out, because the future of the town really depends on this mill being redeveloped. And if anything thwarts it and stops this progress, it will be disastrous. But that's my opinion.
No, you're right.
I don't
You're
think
right.
it's just your opinion.
Yeah.
It's really our hope. It's our
Yeah.
hope,
I think it's everybody's opinion in this call.
right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, we'll get it across to the TBA too. I mean, the list is larger than just the members, so.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that's all right.
we gotta do
Yeah.
something.
Thanks, Brian.
Do you put notices on, you don't put any notices on the Thompson website? Like if because I know there's never usually any announcements. You can't do that either?
No, we do.
Say it.
Doing that.
The legal notice will be up and there will be notices about the meeting. Yeah, not which way to vote, but those will
And the-
definitely be up.
But
And the
information-
ordinance has been published for the last 2 weeks. So,
Yep.
Were there any comments on the ordinance last night, Amy, since I couldn't dial in?
you know, we had a very quiet meeting. The usual suspects that make comments on items were not in attendance. We finished our meeting in 38 minutes.
Wow.
So it was a
Wow.
strange meeting for sure.
I have to try that sometime. Any other comments?
Brian, this is Lynn. I just wanted to circle back to the community calendar.
Yeah.
Because I'm the recording secretary for Economic Development Commission and Recreation Commission. I would be happy to start posting things there. And then it sounds like, if I heard, I think Renee correctly, there is a space where people can fill out a form to have something put on, like for the schools and stuff like that. I don't know if that would help to try to kick that off and get that seeing more, being more up to date and so forth, but I'm happy to throw out my help if that would help.
Well, I think we could show you how to update that calendar. I mean, I don't see that would be an issue.
And is there a form? Did I understand that correct, Renee, that there's a form that the
Well,
school
as somebody would have admin authority, you wouldn't need to do the form. You would just be able to go in and post that.
Okay,
But
okay.
there is, if you go into the website and click on the community calendar, there is a link that says, oh, you know, get your event or something on the community calendar. And when that pops up, they have to put their name, the organization, the event, and then
Right.
that shoots an email, I think, to me and Marie in the selectman's office.
So you could then shoot that to me. And I could take care of getting it. If it helps, if it's too much, if it muddies the process too much, I'm okay with that. I just wanted to offer that I could,
Well,
I am
I
certainly
think-
available to take that
I
on.
think at least the minimum, if you can get the recreation stuff on,
yeah.
I mean, that would have to be coordinated with Brian and Amanda too. I mean, that's basically their responsibility at this point. It's just one of those things. They've, you know, they're putting it here, there, and everywhere. And they're not in the habit of using that calendar. So we'll talk offline.
Okay.
Lynn, remind me, do you live in town?
I live in Woodstock, but I do own a little bit of property in Thompson. So I'm on the Woodstock Thompson line on Payne District Road, Norman Hill Road. So I own property on Norman Hill Road that's actually in Thompson.
No, I was just curious. I just couldn't
Yeah.
remember.
Okay. So the next meeting is September 20th. And I'll see what happens with our nominations and I'll run it by you whether we're interested in meeting in person. But if we're all set, I can adjourn us at 7:29.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, we don't do that here, but okay.
I know.
Have a
I'm just-
capital evening, everyone.
You
Thank you,
too.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
All right.